What is happening, everybody? trueeevil here, and today I want to break down how to play control in Etheria Restart RTA PvP. A lot of people were asking me questions about that during my EWS watch party yesterday when Kecker was using the control team, and I just thought it would be a great time to just really make a guide and just give you those general overviews of units, the pros of the team itself, the cons of the team, and sort of how to play around with everything and what are the crucial picks. So without further ado, let's just talk about the pros and cons first. So the first thing I want to talk about is why you would want a control team on your PvP account. Now, the reason you would want to build a control team, of course, is to be able to pivot. Pivoting is a part of RTA drafting where you expect the other person to just build a team that is going to counter what you started the draft on, and then you pivot to something else to counter the counter. Now, this works extremely well with the control team due to how the openers work for it and how they sort of mesh with all the other characters in the game. Comps. For example, they share a couple of really similar units to the Cleave team, especially with units like, say, Casio here. Casio can be built with Revelation or Codex to really pop off. And, you know, maybe you do build a Revelation Casio, but you pick it early and you see, well, they're going to go bruiser route to counter your cleave. You can then immediately just pivot to control and really dominate the game on them because you'll be able to crowd control them so much that they most likely will not be able to play the game if you have the correct speed and you sequence everything correctly. So that is why you would want to build a control team. So without further ado, let's talk about the main units, going through how you would do the draft order. Now, first, we're going to talk about openers because I believe openers are going to be the most important part because I did mention that control is an excellent pivot. So the openers are actually going to be units that are used on a lot of different team compositions. So the first one I want to talk about is Mio, of course, because Mio is the one that is a really strong opener for this team as well as the Cleave team. And that is because with the skill 3, it has that turn meter steal that is going to give speed up and just really set your team up. But more importantly, the reason why this is such a great unit for the control team, of course, is the CC unit. And it does two things. One, it inflicts freeze. Freeze is an extremely important CC in this game because freeze makes it so they can't gain turn meter. That means if they're doing something like a Moonlit Veil, or if they're doing something like, say, they have a Doki that can get out of the freeze, they're not going to be able to gain turn meter off that. And more importantly, if they have Lighthouse, if the Lighthouse triggers when they are frozen, they are not going to gain that turn meter. She also has Wound, because one of the hard parts of a control team is, of course, you're not going to be dealing as much damage as a Cleave team or a Bruiser team. So being able to wound to make sure they don't get a heal that makes the game last another 10 minutes is really crucial because you do not want them to break the control. If you're going to build Mio for this, I highly recommend maxing out skill 2 and skill 3 just for the reduced cooldowns, as well as on the skill 1 to go up to 4 here. Now, the reason you want to go up to 4 is, of course, the speed that you're going to get off the skill 1. Since she is an opener, of course, you're going to want speed. So let's go on to the next one. Now, we're going to talk about Lily right now because she is just the best opener for a lot of these teams, and that's what makes her really strong for a team that you pivot to, because she is incredibly powerful on the Cleave team because she just twin tricks amazingly well with characters like Messiah, Yelly, Rosa, etc. On the Bruiser team, when she's twin tricked on Tiamat, you can do some crazy things with that. And then on the control team, she is able to give speed, and more importantly, the twin trick can be done on Casio the Reverie, which means that not only are you giving something a 2-turn sleep with Casio's skill 1 when she uses her turn and she doesn't have her skill 3, but now Lily gets the twin trick of that, so you have 2 turns of being able to inflict a 2-turn sleep, which can basically make it so you have an infinite Tsukiyomi on your hands. So incredibly powerful tool, as well as if they are slept when they get knocked out of slumber, they take 25% more damage. So you can do things like they're sleeping, Lily attacks, breaks the sleep, gets an extra 25% more damage, and then Kazuyo twin tricks and then puts them back to sleep for 2 turns. You can do some really, really crazy things with Lily. So she's just the best opener in the game. Just builder, all speed, really, really great. Everyone should probably have her on your account. Now, the third opener I want to talk about for the control team is Tsukio, which might seem a little bit weird because most of the time you see Tsukio, it's on a Revelation team, just because she gives attack up on her skill 3 as well as speed up, and it really makes it so that the Revelation unit does need minimum setup to really bring the noise, say like a Messiah or a Yelly. But the reason why she's amazing on the control team is because her skill 3, once it's at level 4, can bring up anyone on the team, and as well as gives that speed up, so everyone is just going to be cycling more. But the important part, of course, is with the skill 3 is that you can decide which control unit you want to use first. Maybe you think that your Kraken needs to go before your Obol for some reason. Maybe you want your Kazuyo to go first. Maybe your Obol got pushed back somehow and is now behind another unit, and you really need that skill 2 to dispel their bulwark. You can pick which unit you want to do for the setup. So for that reason, Tsukio is amazing. There is also 2 other reasons she is incredibly powerful on the control team. The other reason, besides on the skill 3, the pick which unit you want to use your control effect on, is of course the attack up. One of the hard things of the control team is you're going to be lacking in damage compared to a bruiser or cleave team, so having an attack up actually just makes it so you can win pretty quickly. One of the hard parts of the control team is if they break out, it's hard to get them back in. So if you do have attack up, it means that you are going to end the match much quicker than if you didn't. Now, the last part of why Tsukio is good, of course, is the skill 2. Not only are you silencing them, which can be really important because, say, weapons, if they get out of the stun or the slumber and they do an AoE skill 3, well, they're probably going to bring the noise on you and your squishy control units might get cooked. The great thing with this, of course, is if you silence them, they're just going to hit you with a skill 1, which isn't going to be the end of the world on pretty much any character. And then also what it does is it reduces skill cooldowns on all the animuses, which means, well, you're going to have that juice back to even do more crowd control effects, cycle it more, keeping up the control. It's just really, really amazing. She is one of the best units in the game, so definitely a pickup if you want to play control or just any archetype. She is definitely one of the scariest openers and is one of my most banned units in the game, if not most pre-banned. Now, the first unit we're going to talk about is, of course, going to be Obol. And the reason why Obol is the first one we're going to talk about is because Obol is the one that you're going to want to have on the 3rd pick. That's why I was saying that control is sort of a pivot team. Basically, what is going to end up happening is sort of how some people will pivot into a Tiamat team, hard lock it on the 3rd, and then go from there to build the Tiamat team around it. Control is sort of similar. You did your 1 or 2 opener picks, and now that the 3rd pick is open, you think that control is the way to go, so you hard lock the Obol there. And the reason Obol is the hard lock 3rd pick, of course, is because he has the best 2 options in the game for the control team. And what that means is, of course, he has the control effect with the stun plus the dot, but more importantly, what makes him amazing is going to be his skill 2. Once it is maxed out, it can convert a maximum number of buffs into dot effects, and this is amazing for 2 different reasons. The first reason, of course, is, well, if their entire team has bulwark, how are you going to do a control effect on them before they set up? Well, you have to dispel, of course, and you might be asking yourself, well, I can use a Heinrich or a Holden for that. Why would I need Obol? The reason Obol is good, of course, is because you can decide. If they don't have anything you need to debuff, then you can use the
crowd control effect, which is what your team is about to do. If you need to dispel, though, you have the option, and that's what makes it beautiful. And this is also strong not just for bulwark. Another big thing that can beat the control team, of course, is if they are able to get a speed up buff somehow by, say, a Lily, then you have to dispel the speed up because it'll make them cycle quicker, which means much more likely to break out of the CC. So just multiple reasons why this dispel is good with the dot. It's just really going to save you. Absolutely recommend building him. He's the best unit in the control team. But of course, he isn't just going to be the only control unit. So let's talk about who you're going to build around. Now, the next unit I'm going to talk about is Kazuyo, because I didn't put Kazuyo in the opener, which some people do use her as an opener, and I'm going to talk about why before I talk about her kit and why she's amazing. Now, the first thing you can see here is I have a Codex of Magic on her. If you have a Codex on her, then you can't really pick her if you're going control route until you have that Obol secured on pick 3. And the reason for this, of course, is they see that instead of a revelation, they already have it clicked in their brain that they're up against control. So definitely want to point that out there. And if you do have a revelation on her, you can pick her in, say, those 2 picks before your 3rd pick, because then they see that, they might think you're going cleave, especially if you do something like a Mio Kazuyo. Kazuyo has revelation, or you have a Lily plus the Kazuyo with the revelation. They might not suspect the control, and as well as you can pivot away from it if they do think it's control. So just wanted to bring that up. And now the reason why she's so good is, well, she is the best unit in the control team to be twin tricked in case if you do get to secure that Lily, and that is because of the skill 1. It has a 2-turn slumber on it, which is absolutely insane, especially because it has 2 chances to hit. So it's definitely going to be hitting a lot, especially with the effect res. 2 hits of 60% is pretty in your favor. And then the reason why it's such a strong pick to have Kazuyo is because of her skill 3. Not only does it do attack down, so in case if they do get a hit on you, it's not going to do as much, but she can do the slumber. Now, the reason why the slumber is good, she has a lot of chances to proc it. It's because of her passive. Her passive is what actually makes her so oppressive. She has turn meter reduction when she inflicts slumber on someone that has slumber. And this is just going to make you absolutely high roll on the control team. And why I have Codex going back-to-back skill 3 when they're all slumbered is absolutely insane and can loop you multiple turns. So best unit to twin trick with Lily on the team, multiple uses, and not only acts as a CC, but as a turn meter reducer, and is one of the best at it. Not only that, but her cooldown is 3, which is significantly lower than the majority of the control team, where their CC is going to be at 4. So much easier to just keep looping a Kazuyo. So that is why I think she's amazing on the control team. Let's move on to the other units. Now, the next unit I want to talk about is Kraken, because if you watched the EWS yesterday, you would have seen Kecker used Kraken for his Ws, and you might be saying, why would I use Kraken if there is Nahor? Well, there is a couple of reasons. One, if you're building this as, say, like your pivot team, maybe your main resources are on your cleave, you don't have a lot of gold lattices to build Nahor, you can build Kraken. But Kraken is amazing in his own right, and that is because of 2 reasons. One, not only does he do the freeze, which is really, really important so they can't gain turn meter if they have something like a Moonlit Veil or a Lighthouse. If you hit them too hard and they proc the Lighthouse, well, if they're frozen, they don't gain any turn meter. And if they have a Doki Doki and they try to skill 3, well, they're not doing anything with that skill 3. Or if they have, say, like a Freya. It's just freeze is an amazing one, but not only is it freeze, it reduces turn meter. And the reason this is good is because, of course, well, you're trying to cycle CC as much as possible. So, of course, being able to reduce their turn meter, and then when they have their turn, they can do nothing, it's just going to really, really snowball into that W and make it so your opponent can't have a turn, which is a little bit stronger than Nahor's, in my opinion, just because of that turn meter reduction. Not only that, but if they do have that one pesky unit that can get out of the CC, he has a single target freeze, so it can really make sure that you get it so they can't get out. Most of these units only have one attack that can cause CC, so having the skill 2 as a freeze is just really, really incredible and makes it so he's definitely a choice, especially if you see turn meter increase in any shape or capacity, say a lighthouse or a unit effect. So definitely worth building Kraken up. Now, I'm not going to talk about Nahor that much because I actually don't think Nahor really shines on the control team as much as Kraken. And the reason for that, of course, is on his skill 3. They both inflict the freeze, but the more important thing is that on the control team, you're trying to keep them from breaking out of that CC. So the defense down, although it's really strong, if say you want to pick just like a 1 unit as a CC unit out of your 5 on, say, like a cleave team, I do think this is a good setup. I do think freeze is extremely strong for dealing with lighthouses. So I do think this unit is good on, say, like a cleave team. But for the control, you would rather have Obol and Kraken, and that's because the dispel option only targets one person. Although the block is nice, it's just better if they all have speed up. If none of them have speed up, and if all of them have bulwark, it's better if none of them have bulwark. So in that regard, Obol is significantly better on the skill 2. And then on the skill 3, although freeze is nice, I just think Kraken with the pushback is a lot better, especially since Kraken also has a CC on his skill 2. And also Kraken has pretty much an identical skill 1. I believe it's I believe it actually is just the same thing, right? 240% single enemy, 40% 2-turn defense down. Let's see what Kraken is. Yeah. It's the same thing. I think Kraken's just better. Use Kraken. Now, the last unit I am going to talk about on the control team, and arguably the best SSR in the game for control, is going to be Lilith. And the reason why Lilith is so powerful is for multiple reasons. Of course, she has her CC with her skill 3, which immediately gains another turn. She does damage off max HP, so if you build her tanky, it's going to mean she does more damage. But the most important part with her is she is doing CC plus a speed down. So you have a character like Mio, everyone has speed up. You use Lilith, they all have speed down. This is pretty much going to guarantee it. So you go that infinite turn cycling with your other control units and just win the game off just your opponent never getting a turn. So due to that, I think Lilith is amazing on her own right. But more importantly, we need to have more than one good target for Lily with Twin Trick. And what makes Lilith absolutely hilarious is that she has a chance to gain an extra turn. So sometimes you can gain an extra turn with Lilith on the skill 1, and then when Lily goes, you twin trick on the Lilith, and then Lilith gains an extra turn off this. This can absolutely high roll snowball into things that you just never wish that could happen. So Lilith, if you have her on your account, highly would recommend building her if you're interested in the control team, because she is one of the best ways to win at this video game. Before we get to the next unit, I want to sort of talk about gear and how to build them up. How I do this, and it's going to be, of course, a little bit different for everyone, is that I'm going to be building Swift Rush, Swift Smite, or Swift Raid on every single character. I love Codex on the ones where I need to use the skills multiple times, such as Kazio, Obol, Mio. Virtually any of these units are going to just be amazing with Swift Rush and Swift Might. And the reason Bulwark is on there, of course, is, well, I don't want their turn meter to be knocked down. I don't want any shenanigans before they're able to go. So definitely just want the Bulwark on most of these units, just so there's minimum chance of getting any shenanigans to happen. Now, before that, of course, we need the passive effects. There is a couple of passive effects. I think for the middle one, it's just always Shadow Dash. You want to be fast, you want to be cycling, you want to be doing the control effects. On the first one, I like having Crystal Wall. Now, sometimes you're not going to roll it, and it feels bad because, well, even though it's a red and it's 100 defense, if it was a percentage, it would be significantly more. You can get over 20% on this, which is, you can get more than double that on a Casio. So really want Crystal Wall if you go that route, but Surge is good. Any just defensive skill 1. And then on the skill 3, I like to start the battle off getting that guarantee as much as possible. So I like Insight, as well as the effect res helps me. So it just protects me from any type of effects. Now, you might think that's a little weird because I have Bulwark, but you know, maybe they're trying to do something that has a percentage to dispel my Bulwark, right? Just any kind of effect res is going to help there. So those are what I like to do, but you can also do, say, a extra damage on this just to make it so you can win the fight in a quickly fashion. So that's how I would go about building a control team and how to draft it. Now, I'm not going to show any gameplay, but in the description, I will be linking Kecker's quarterfinal match, which is going to be an extremely important thing to watch if you want to see some high-level control gameplay. Now, if you want to watch the finals, which I assure you he will most likely be playing control, I am going to be having a watch party for that EWS finals on my Twitch later today. I'm going to start streaming at around 2:30 p.m. So if you'd like to watch with me, be sure to tune in. It's going to be a really great time, I think. So that's it for now. See you guys next time.